Merely Human Ministries, much later on, after I worked as a development coordinator and a speaker at our pregnancy center, and then I worked with you for 8 years, 7 or 8 years at Life Training Institute. I just wanted to, you and I talked about it. I just needed to find my own voice, my own way in communicating. So what Merely Human Ministries just ultimately did was the emphasis is still very strongly on the most pressing and urgent issue when we're talking about life issues. To me, it's still abortion, because we're talking about something where human lives are actively being destroyed every single day. And with something like 50% of the population of the United States approving of that destruction, which is a wild thing to say. I was once asked at a school, why don't you spend your time talking about things like child sex trafficking or things like that? Why does it have to be abortion? I was like, well, 50% of the population in the United States doesn't think child sex trafficking is a good thing that ought to be defended. That we all agree that's wrong. But a significant amount of people in the United States think this is a good thing. And so it has to be fought out at every level that we can possibly fight it. But it also did open up opportunities for me to expand on the platform that I operate from, on just the idea of loving our neighbors ourselves and how it translates into other areas. Those other areas don't often have or almost never have the same kind of urgency we're talking about with abortion, but then they're still a part of this greater theme. How do we love our neighbors ourselves in a world where we're often pitted against each other and see each other in reductive views?
It's so funny how our stories are so similar. I was that guy who was at least attitudinally pro-life as far back as I can remember. But I didn't do anything about it till I saw an abortion video that Greg Cunningham played, and it absolutely ripped me to my core. And I fundamentally changed vocation, as did you, to do something about this, because I couldn't live with myself if I stayed silent. It's amazing how that is. I'm also amazed at how, when you became converted, you became born again, the Lord immediately set your mind right about abortion. And, you know, we live in an age right now of James Tallaricos that run around talking about how full-blown abortion is consistent with a Christian life. And yet the minute you became a Christian, your attitude on abortion changed.
Yeah. And I've talked about Tallarico on our own podcast at some point and written a little bit about him. I just think it's fundamentally dishonest to say I believe that every human being has value, was created for a purpose. There's intention and behind it of a creator. And at the same time, though we have the freedom of any human being has the freedom to destroy another human being because we find their presence inconvenient. The reason that he gives obviously he gives some what he believes is biblical support of it. I find him particularly annoying because he's one of those people that says, here is why I biblically think that abortion is justified as a Christian, but I'm not an expert on this. I don't pretend to have thought very deeply about this. I haven't researched it. So on the one hand, he's saying these are good reasons to be a Christian and support abortion. And then when he's obviously offering scripture that has nothing to do with abortion, or these stretchers or tortures to the point where he has to include abortion in it as far as something that's permissive. I think Numbers 5 being one of those where I think it is so often tortured by the other side to mean something that it doesn't mean. It's ridiculous. But then if you push him on, that's not what that means. Well, I just haven't thought about this. Well, then don't talk about it. I mean, seriously.
Don't talk about it. Exactly.
Correct. If you haven't bothered to become informed on one of the most morally important issues of our age, then just don't speak publicly about it like you are some sort of moral authority on it. That seems to be a simple request.